Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. After the major updates that Icebox will be returning into the professional map pool meta with Haven parting ways, TenZ has given his thoughts on the matter and says that he really hopes that Icebox has some serious changes to it, otherwise it's going to be very stale when it officially returns to the meta. FNS gives his thoughts on the matter as well. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Lots of updates today. Jing not happy as well about just more cheaters around the place that, yeah, some impressive stats, shall we say, at 2.0 KD from this guy. Just has got good gaming socks on, I imagine, most of the time. This also, though, a very interesting update here from YFP Gaming. They're returning to the Tier 2 side for the new season. Bones, Physic, Jonas 6, Penny, and then, you know, their coach, of course, here. But also Moose, which is kind of interesting just because I believe that Moose was linked to the Evil Geniuses roster. There was a leak a while ago where Moose was meant to be scrimming with an EG potential team. I think at the time they might have still had Common Jorgamo, but you know, people linked it even to FlyQuest as a potential organization that were going to replace EG if they were going to get kicked from the partnership, basically. And there was Corey, there was Baby Bay, there was other players, and even there was talk the other day from NRG that they trialed a couple of those guys, but it never all the way went through. So Moose is now over here, which means that he's not going to be on EG, I guess. So, you know, they have some questions to answer. No update as of today yet, really, as to what's going on with Evil Geniuses Com, and whether he is going to Lev, or whether there's anything else going on there, because we talked about those rumors the other day. Also, some interesting rumors on what's happening in the Game Changer side. So just the other day, we saw some leaks connecting a couple of players, especially from, you know, BBL and stuff like this, to be joining G2 for the new season to replace, you know, a couple of players on G2 goes in. They're going to make some changes, trying to take some next steps going forwards. Now, G2 Mimi says, "What's your favorite color?" and signs a contract. Now, this might mean nothing. There might be nothing, you know, nothing to this, but there probably is something to this. Whether it's re-signing, but also you've got to say, G2 doesn't really have a distinct color, you know, in the same way that Sen is red, in the same way that Cloud9 is blue, or like 100T is like red and black or whatever. Like, you know, G2, sure, it's kind of white, red, black, sometimes kind of depends how they're going, but there isn't really like a distinct color that defines G2 in the way that other organizations have. So, you know, that kind of makes me think that there's something interesting going on, especially when Amy says, current player for the Ascend Rising female Game Changers roster, also says the same thing, "What's your favorite color?" and tweets out the same graphic. So I don't know what's going on here, but there were rumors the other day that roster changes at G2's Game Changer side are happening. So maybe a couple of players to keep your eyes on going forward. If Mimi was to be gone, that would be massively surprising, especially when Petra at the same comes out with, you know, the heartbroken kind of emoji here. So look, I'd be surprised if there's nothing to this after what we've just seen, but I'm, you know, as yet not convinced that it's going to be major changes, because as yet we haven't really seen massive rumors around what this could potentially be. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Quickly as well to mention here from Willminder, he's put together what would be theoretically the first round matches of the EMEA kickoff. So in all the regions, they're doing a kickoff at the start of the season. That's going to determine what the two teams that make the finals are going to be the two teams that represent their region at the Masters in Madrid to kick off the season as well. But all regions going to have a kickoff event. Now, we believe this is going to be double elimination bracket, will be decided as follows based on the seeding, right? So, you know, 11 teams is kind of an awkward number, but you can kind of make it work if you do this. So this is what the seeding would be if placement in international tournaments and playoffs determines the seeding, which is what they may do, but they may do it another way. So Fnatic, of course, would be the number 1 seed. They would play the winner of KOI and Heretics if it was done as follows. So some interesting matches this would kind of cause. Now, you've also got to realize that they may only use regular season seeding, which would make things slightly different, but actually very similar. Na'Vi and FUT Esports, of course, would change around a little bit, because FUT Esports did surprisingly well towards the end of the year, but Na'Vi were there in the regular season. And then for the Americas, it would look like this. Now, the interesting thing, I guess, is that EG, they won champs, so they should be the number 1 seed, you would think. But that might not be the case, and of course EG's roster is not the same as it was last year. So EG getting the number 1 seed would be, you know, it would make sense, but it wouldn't maybe feel right. I don't know what you guys think about that. But if it was ordered by who did the best in international tournaments, you would get 100T Sen round 1. Now, this would probably be a double elim bracket, but, you know, you get G2 Lev, Furia, MIBR, then the winner of that would play NRG, winner of this would play Loud, Cloud Crew would then play the winner of all of these games, so it would be very interesting. If it was organised by placement in the regular season, then it would look dramatically different. And EG would be down here at number 6 seed. Loud would be the first seed. Of course, they'd play the winner of MIBR and Thieves. Sentinels would play Crew and then Cloud9. So, it'd all be very interesting. But I guess time will only tell what the format is going to be. I'm sure there's going to be some big updates on this and announcements over the coming days. Let's talk, though, about the finals of the Chinese Ascension tournament. Currently going down at the moment that we speak. This was yesterday's matchup, by the way. Attacking Soul Esports did eventually lose to Dragon Ranger Gaming. It looked like it was going to be a close fought affair. And in the end, after a split, it was 13-7. That overtime we talked about on Haven, it was 13-10 on Bind. Lotus went 13-11 back the other way on Dragon Ranger Gaming's pick. And then Ascent was another crazy overtime, 15-13. So super gutting, I'm sure, for Attacking Soul Esports to fall short in this way. 5-map series, overtime, just completely ridiculous. 115 kills. There were 3 players with over 100 kills in this lobby. So just absolutely absurd. However, though, today's game is currently looking like this. And you might be somewhat surprised as it stands, because Rare Atom, despite looking basically unbeatable for the entire tournament so far, are down 1-0, and it's currently 10-10 on Dragon Ranger Gaming's pick here on Ascent. So this is a massively important map. The split, which was Rare Atom's pick, goes 13-7 to Dragon Ranger Gaming. So this would be incredible if Rare Atom, after dominating the tournament so far, get to the finals, and then Dragon Ranger Gaming step up to qualify. So it's, it's really interesting at the moment, and it's Lotus, it's Bind, it's Suntech to round out the series. So that's going to, by the time this video goes live, we'll probably know what's happened here, but wow, that's a big one. So yesterday we saw the massive news around the Haven Icebox changes. Rumor has it at the moment, Icebox is going to be back into the map pool and Haven is going to be gone. My preference, having thought about it overnight, I actually quite like Fracture. I think Fracture's a good map. I think it creates a lot of competitive variations. You can run Neon. You can do all sorts of stuff on Fracture. I know people kind of don't like it in general, but I think that to watch, I actually really enjoyed watching and, playing Fracture as well. So I would have Fracture returning for Ascent, and I also don't mind Icebox in for Haven. Both of those maps, Haven and Ascent, I think could do with some work. But yeah, Haven is gone, Ascent is going to stay, and Icebox is coming in. So understandably, there's been lots of thoughts on this. Most pro players seem to be of the opinion that they would get rid of Ascent instead. But people are generally happy, I think, with the return of Icebox. TenZ, though, says that he wants some changes to the way that Icebox is laid out. And I don't imagine they would bring it back unless they have something to offer the map now. The A-bomb site is, pretty good, I think. Mid has always been a bit strange to me. And then B has had a few problems. They've tried to make changes at B, but I don't think any of them have really fully solved the problem. But, players generally like it, but they tend to think that serious changes might still be necessary. And TenZ reckons that, look, he does not want to be running the Sage again on this map, right? He has he doesn't enjoy running the Sage. It was generally the go-to on Icebox because it was the way to get the plant down, but you basically, as TenZ describes, would play the map like Pearl when you'd basically just play the post plant, right? After you get the spike down using the Sage wall, which was the go-to strategy really on pretty much both sides of the map. So maybe they'll change that around. TenZ thinks that Sentinels might have other ideas if that is the case, but also the map could be changing significantly, and TenZ wants to see some changes to avoid it being as stale as the meta was before Icebox was initially out of the pool.
You know that Icebox replacing Haven exact? Yes, I do know. But I would literally rather do anything else than play Sage on the map. I think I gotta see what changes they make. Because if they're bringing it back, surely they found some changes to not make the map just so static. That's the map that you go in with 0 strats and you could just win. Is very uncreative. Sage even still meta on Icebox? I actually don't know. I always under the impression that it's better to just have flash comps rather than running a Sage. Because okay, the thing with Sage is really good for planting the spike, but it feels like you just fall back into the space you previously had, and then it becomes like Pearl where you just play post plant constantly. And then the game just becomes really boring. And it's not really inspiring. Whereas if you're running a flash comp, you have KO or you have anything that can just go through a Viper wall, then you can actually take space, hold space, or take space and try to be annoying.
Are you sad about Haven? Yeah, dude, I saw that. I mean, it sucks because I think Ascent was the one that needed a heavy rework, but it's fine. It's all good. Because Ascent, 1, paper thin walls, which I think lowers the skill ceiling, and 2, is the same comp every game. It's the same ideal comp every game for every team, even at the highest level, which I think is stale. Least gimmicky map, yeah, to some degree. I mean, I'm excited for Icebox though. Icebox would be lit. I never minded that map, besides mid, but I wonder how they're going to rework it, or how they rework the map. Mid and B were a problem.
So what changes do you guys think they might bring to Icebox here? As I say, I reckon the ASOT will stay the same. Just to clarify, by the way, this is, you know, like a reversed image here, so it always, like, messes with the mind when you think you know your way around the map, but actually it's in reverse, so it's all very confusing. But sure, A-bomb site, I think, is pretty fine. Mid, though, they might make some changes to the way the ramp works, or certainly the way that kind of overlook section works, this kind of cross-through bit. Maybe it's the B site they need to think about more. They made some changes to the way the boxes work over here on both sides of it, but I still think there might be more to think about there. And in general, I think the TenZ makes a good point on the changes necessary, but also the meta on that map, because sure, Ascent has a very stale meta, but the way that Icebox was played lots of the time was pretty similar. You try and get into A, you put the Sage Wall down, you plant the spike, you back up. You try and get to B, you put the Sage Wall down, you plant the spike, you back up. That was generally the strategy, and it was a fine strategy, and it worked in the same way to what you do on Pearl, when you just run down the street, you plant the spike, and then you back up. And maybe that's okay, but that's not really, you know, it's not the most exciting way to play Valorant. The most exciting way is to attack the site, try and get control of it fully, push out into their spawn, get control of the lanes, and then completely shut them out of the bomb site. And, you know, if you can give that a go, TenZ reckons that maybe if you run the KO, or you run a different, you know, variation of the meta and the compositions, then it might work even better. And it's interesting that Sentinels might have some ideas already on what they're planning to do there after their recent success at the Africa TV tournament, but I guess it really remains to be seen what changes they might bring to Icebox, because if there are significant changes to B and to middle, as FNS and other pros seem to imply that they kind of want, then it might change the composition already without really thinking about what the further implications of that are going to be for now. Just to quickly mention before we close out here, I thought this was kind of cool. NA players, so starting, well actually it's already started I'm guessing, but Gen.G are running a solo queue like arena tournament, which is kind of cool. They've got $1,000 in prizes here. I thought the prizes were kind of nice actually, so instead of money given away, they've given away a headset, a Zippo hand warmer, some Zenny glasses for first place, third and fourth get a mouse pad and a mouse, and then second place gets a keyboard and a Zippo lighter, and then fifth to seventh get some keycaps. I thought this is actually kind of cool here, the way that they you know, have these prizes set up. But very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.